You know, there's a war being fought right now. But it's not with soldiers or tanks. It's a war fought with algorithms and currencies. A silent conflict happening in the flicker of stock tickers and encrypted data streams between nations. And the biggest casualty? Well, it just might be the dollar in your pocket.
So, what if this invisible war is already reshaping your future, your savings, and your security? And you're standing on the battlefield without even knowing it?
Welcome to Animeconomy. Today, we are cracking open a book that is basically an intelligence briefing for this hidden conflict, The Death of Money by James Rickards. His argument is absolutely chilling. The collapse of our international money system isn't just a possibility, it's a mathematical certainty.
So here's our mission today. We're going to expose the weapons of this new financial war. We'll reveal the fatal flaw in the plans of the people in charge. We're going to see how new powers are getting ready to challenge the old guard. And, most importantly, you're going to want to stick around, because by the end of this, we will uncover the single most important asset you have in this new reality.
Section 1, The Invisible War for Money. See, Rickards' whole argument starts here. The age of conventional, boots-on-the-ground warfare between superpowers, it's over. The new battlefield is the global financial system itself.
The doctrine for this has a name: unrestricted warfare. And this isn't some concept from a movie. It's a real strategy laid out clear as day in a 1999 book by two Chinese colonels. The whole idea is to win by crippling an enemy's financial and social systems, so you never even have to fire a missile.
And this is the new arsenal. We're talking about cyber attacks that can shut down a power grid or an entire stock exchange. Financial attacks, like dumping a country's bonds to cause a currency crisis. And information itself turned into a weapon. Fake news, rumors, all designed to create pure panic and crash markets. It is a multi-front war where a single line of code can do more damage than a bomb.
Now, you might be thinking, surely our leaders are ready for this. But Rickards argues they are the system's biggest weakness, which brings us to Section 2, the hubris of central banks.
So, you've probably heard of Adam Smith's invisible hand, right? He saw the economy as this great chessboard where every single piece has a mind of its own. But central bankers? Rickards says they see themselves as the only player, moving all the pieces with what he calls the dead hand of central planning. They truly believe they can control this infinitely complex system from a boardroom.
And this, right here, is their fatal flaw. The economist Friedrich Hayek nailed it when he said that no committee, no supercomputer, can ever possibly have all the information needed to run an economy. That knowledge is spread out among millions of people making billions of decisions every single day. Trying to control it from the top down is like trying to write a script for a hurricane. It just can't be done.
And the result of all this hubris is something called regime uncertainty. It's that feeling you get when the people in charge just keep changing the rules of the game. New regulations, sudden policy shifts, surprise bailouts. For investors, for business owners, for you trying to plan your career or your savings, it makes the future impossible to calculate. So what happens? Capital stays on the sidelines. The economy grinds to a halt, paralyzed not because there isn't money, but because there's no confidence.
So, while Western central banks are stuck playing by their own broken rules, other powers are playing a completely different game. And that takes us to Section 3, China's financial warfare. According to Rickards, China's military strategists are absolute masters of asymmetric strategy. They studied every word from the Pentagon legend Andy Marshall, the guy behind the Revolution in Military Affairs, or RMA. The RMA is basically the idea that new tech, computers, satellites, and now AI can totally change how wars are won. China got this. They realized you don't fight a superpower on their terms. No, you find a new battlefield. And for them, that battlefield is finance.
Let this number sink in for a second. Over $400 billion. That's roughly the price tag to build and deploy a fleet of 12 state-of-the-art aircraft carriers. You know, the ultimate symbol of American military might. It is an almost unimaginable amount of money.
But why would you spend that when you could get an even bigger strategic win for a tiny fraction of the cost? A well-timed financial attack is cheap. It's deniable. I mean, was it a hostile act or just a market correction? Who knows? And it can cause economic damage far, far greater than any physical strike. China knows this, and it has chosen its battle space very, very wisely. Hey, if you're finding this breakdown valuable, just take a quick second to like this explainer and maybe share it with someone you know who needs to understand the real forces shaping our world.
Your support really helps us make more deep dives just like this one.
Okay, so the system is fragile, the leaders are blind, and adversaries are on the move. I know, it sounds bleak, but here's the crucial point. We are not helpless. Section 4 is all about surviving the collapse.
Now, on a national level, Rickards lays out some clear, big-picture solutions to make the system stronger. First, break up the too-big-to-fail banks that hold the entire economy hostage. Second, bring back regional stock exchanges for redundancy, so one cyber attack can't crash the whole market. And third, reintroduce gold into the system as an anchor, a real physical asset that can't be hacked or just printed into oblivion.
But what can you actually do? Rickards highlights a personal survival kit of tangible assets. We're talking gold, the ultimate form of money for thousands of years. Land, a real asset that can't just vanish. And even fine art, unique physical objects that hold their value completely outside the traditional financial system. The whole point is to own things that can't be deleted with a keystroke or devalued by a central banker.
All of this brings us to the final, and honestly the most important question. To prepare for the death of money, we first have to really understand what it is. So in our final section, we're going to ask, what is money really?
Okay, we start with a statement we all just accept. A dollar is money. But why? It's not because it's backed by gold. That ended decades ago. Its money is simply because a government says it is. It's what's known as fiat currency. Its existence is literally an act of power. So if it's just paper or numbers on a screen, what's that mean for value? Well, money is supposed to be a store of value. Think of it like a battery for your hard work. But in a system where more of it can be printed at any time, that battery is constantly leaking. That's the hidden tax of inflation, just silently eating away at your life savings.
And this is the critical point. The only thing stopping this entire system from collapsing is trust. It's not just a feeling, it's the invisible software that runs our entire civilization. We trust that tomorrow, someone else will accept this piece of paper for real stuff. The entire global financial system is balanced on this one single fragile idea.
So I want to leave you with this question. If that trust dies, if our collective confidence in money just evaporates, what happens next? What holds society together? I'm really curious to hear your thoughts, so let me know in the comments below.
Thank you so much for watching. If you stayed all the way to the end, it means you're not just curious, you're genuinely committed to understanding how the world actually works. And that alone really separates you from the majority.
So if you haven't already, make sure you subscribe to Animeconomy. Here we turn complex economics, politics, and power dynamics into clear visual stories, so you can understand the hidden forces that are shaping your life.
And if you want the full, detailed intelligence briefing from the source, I highly recommend you get the full story. Just click the link in the description to grab a copy of The Death of Money. It is an absolutely essential read. Goodbye, and I'll see you in the next explainer.